Hey, what's up guys, I'm Nizio, and today I'm going to be counting down my top 10 favorite worlds in video games. Now before we start, make sure to drop a like down below and let me know some of your favorite video game worlds. So without further ado, number 10. Coming in at number 10 we have Snow, which despite the fact that being a free game in early access since 2013, has a surprising amount of detail in regards to the world and everything from the mountains of White Ridge down to the picnic tables at the lodge. Everything has a purpose and the soundtrack just adds to it. The soundtrack, which you can probably hear in the background, is probably one of the best game soundtracks I've ever heard. If you want me to do a top 10 on game soundtracks, I can do that in a different video, but they often attribute to the world feeling more real or surreal or however you want to make the world feel. If you have a good soundtrack that complements the world, then it can only add to the experience. But like I said, Snow is still in early access, so there are definitely going to be some bugs, and yeah, there are a lot of bugs. And they kind of went the EA route, and at first, when the game first came out, for the first few years, I'd say up until about like mid 2017, everything was free, everything was like so you could check it out, right? But now every single thing in the game is a microtransaction, and that kind of detracted from the whole experience, the whole early access experience. I'd rather pay up front for the game than have to pay for each individual mountain and skin and helmet and all the gear and whatnot. I'd rather pay up front than have to deal with all these microtransactions, and that is why Snow is in the 10th place. But other than that, it's a phenomenal game. Firewatch is just another one of those games that really benefits from a decent soundtrack, and I can tell you I'm not the only one that thinks that Firewatch has an absolutely gorgeous soundtrack. But of course, soundtrack isn't all that matters when it comes to crafting a world. There's a whole bunch of other things that game devs have to take into account when crafting a world. For instance, graphics are key, but it doesn't need to be like photorealistic Watch Dogs 2 or like Battlefront 2 or whatever. It doesn't need to be photorealistic as long as you have a good style that isn't just blatantly ripping off another game. Then I think you have it. Firewatch is, as you can tell, is a story that you can see and it's interactive. I think Polygon put it perfectly. If a video game could be a page turner, this would be it. I mean, you can tell everything from the artistic style. Everything is in line with each other, and it gives you that, you know, kind of Colorado or the middle of the United States. Like, you're alone, and the only resource you have to the outside world is Delilah, which of course you can talk to her, and then she can talk to whoever her higher-ups are. But I think you can't talk about the world of Firewatch without mentioning the story, because they go hand in hand. You can really tell that Campo Santo put a lot of time and thought into Firewatch, because most big-name game development companies out there like EA and Ubisoft are really just out there to make you can see a pattern with a lot of these smaller indie game dev studios, and that they take more time to develop a game. And I'm not saying all big-name companies don't care about story or worlds or actually taking time on their games. I mean, Bethesda is one example, but you see this a lot more with the smaller companies. You got Don't Nod, Campo Santo, you got all these smaller indie game dev companies, and you can just tell that a lot of time and effort was put into it. You don't have to have 1,500 microtransactions for it to be a good game. That's the complete opposite of what the gaming community wants, and I think Campo Santo knows that. Coming in at number 8, we have a Portal Stories Mel, which is a fan-made expansion to the Portal universe. And to be honest, the reason I put this game on here and not Portal 2, not Portal 1, is the fact that it goes into more detail than Portal 2 ever did. And I think that's somewhat of a feat when it comes to gaming. You think, oh, this big name company Valve creates an immense story, and it's taken them years to create and whatnot, and this small indie game company not even an indie game company, just comes up, and a small group of fans just comes up out of nowhere and decides, hey, let's make a game, and it's like 10 times better than Portal 2. Now, I'm not knocking on Portal 2. It wasn't a bad game necessarily. It was just, it didn't go into nearly as much detail or have as much atmosphere as Portal Stories Mel. Even though it is fairly linear compared to most Valve games, it's done in a way where you can be in the shoes of Mel. And I won't spoil anything, you just gotta play it. I think it's like $5 or something. Well, that's what I bought it for. You just gotta play it and then you'll understand what I'm talking about. This is a really nice story. It is is kind of short. I mean, the game dev studio that made this mod obviously isn't sitting on $5.5 billion, so they didn't have the time or money or probably employees to make it a 17-hour experience. But it's short, sweet, to the point, and it's a really great, well-rounded experience. And I definitely think you should pick it up. Coming at number 7, we have Quantum Break, and if you guys didn't know something about me, I'm in love with time travel as a whole entire genre. Back to the Future, you know, that's like automatically, you knew that was coming. Back to the Future, Legends of Tomorrow, Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure, just some great ideas, and then here comes Quantum Break. Now, I wasn't really in the gaming scene like that, like big gaming. In 2016, I didn't have a really decent gaming PC or an Xbox One. I just had my 360 and a laptop, so I wasn't able to play it. But once I got my gaming PC, oh, you know, I have quite a few hours put into Quantum Break, and just something about it, and maybe it is because I'm slightly biased towards time travel genre, anything like video games, books, movies, I don't care what it is. I mean, I liked it so much that I bought the book, okay? I bought the book. It's really interesting. You should give it a read. Well, if you like the game, you should play the game first and then give it a read, because then you wouldn't really understand. It's kind of a complicated book. But anyways, we're here to talk about the world of Quantum Break, not the book. So the world is really interesting of Riverport. It actually reminds me a lot of Ann Arbor. It's like where the whole entire city is based off of the college or the university, which lays in the city, and everything is centered around that university. I mean, you can't really talk about the world without talking about the time travel aspect. I mean, everything comes back to itself. It kind of reminded me of the first Back to the Future. At the end of the first movie, we saw Marty going back to the future from the start of the movie. Everything connects with everything. It basically is what I'm trying to say. My advice is just for you to play through the entire game. I think if you catch it at a Steam sale, so the winter Steam sale coming up, I think there's even a Halloween Steam sale, you should be able to catch it for maybe $12.99 or something like that. I really recommend you play through the entire game. Even if you're not really good at shooters, you can put it on easy. It's not that hard of a game, but just the story and the world, you'll just be engulfed in the fan fiction. I mean, if you like time travel like I do, then you'll completely understand. Once you finish the game, you'll be like, wow. Like even some parts before the end of the game. Alright, let me give you an example. Some unexplained stuff happens at the start of the game. I'm not going to spoil anything, even though it's been out for 3 years now. But you're like, okay, and then you forget about it. And then at the end of the game, when you go back in time to where the start of the game took place, then you're like, oh, okay, that makes sense. I get this. So I definitely recommend you play Quantum Break. Just play it through fully. They said they don't plan on making a sequel, which is kind of disappointing, but it's like you don't make a fourth Back to the Future. It's already a complete experience. I mean, I wouldn't mind a sequel, but I feel like if they got anything wrong, it would kind of ruin the whole experience. So I think it's better left untouched for now. Now, I'm gonna try and have this one a little bit shorter than the other ones, just because if things go how they've been going, this video is gonna be 30 minutes, and I don't want to have to deal with that. But Watch Dogs, what can I say about Watch Dogs? I've spent through the entire franchise, I've spent over 500 hours easily, and yeah, I think you could tell it's probably one of my favorite games of all time, and I'm not gonna do a favorite games of all time video. I'm just not gonna touch that until maybe 1,000 subscribers. But Watch Dogs, what can I say about the Watch Dogs world? I've been to Chicago a few times actually, and it's really similar. It's not a one-by-one recreation like San Francisco and Watch Dogs 2, but it does a perfect job of capturing the vibe, especially at night. If you've ever been to Chicago in the city when it's raining at night, you understand. I know there's a lot of variables have to go into that, but you'll understand what I'm talking about. It's not something that just, especially if you're listening to music and that song kind of sticks in your head, and every time you hear that song you think of Chicago. It's a really cool place. Kind of similar to New York City. If you've ever been there, I've never been to New York City, but I mean just the way it's all put out there, you can tell it's similar to New York City, and it's not the biggest world, and there are some problems with it, like Pawnee, Indiana being right next to the city, which obviously isn't true. Pawnee isn't an actual city, but it kind of mirrors some areas around Chicago, and it's not close. I mean, when I say around, I mean like 60-ish miles away. So it's not like, oh, I'll just drive for 2 minutes. I mean, you can't put a 234 square mile map on a game and then just expect it to be under 25 gigabytes. Like, it's just not possible unless you seriously downgrade the graphics or something along the lines of that. But as a summary, Watch Dogs does a phenomenal job of capturing the look and feel and atmosphere of Chicago, and I wouldn't have it any other way. Despite what people may say about the graphics being downgraded and whatnot from the E3 trailer, I don't care. It's a great game. I love the experience. I'd play it if I could only play it in 720p. Like, that's how much I love the game. I love the story. It was really dark. It kind of felt like I was watching, like I was playing an Arrow game or something along the lines of that. But yeah, it's a general game. If you haven't played it, you should play it. Just my opinion. Maybe I am slightly biased with this one as well because, you know, it's my favorite game and I have over 500 hours in the entire series. But regardless, you should definitely go check it out. Remember, I'll have the link to all these games in the description for you guys. Okay, I'm actually going to keep this one a little bit shorter than the last one because I'm pretty sure you guys already know how much I like Half-Life 2. I've talked about so many times on the channel. I have a whole Let's Play of Half-Life 2 and Half-Life 2 Episode 1 that I haven't finished yet. I'll finish it. I promise I'll finish it. But Half-Life 2, not a lot to say about it because I've already said everything there is to be said, but there's still things to be said about it because it's a great game and there is still a chance for Half-Life 3 to come out. I mean, Ravenholm is probably one of the most atmospheric towns in all of gaming history, and City 17 really gives you that post-apocalyptic vibe. I don't know what to say about it. I've just exhausted my appreciation for Half-Life 2, even though I still love it. I've played over 302 hours in the game. It's my second most played game on Steam, and I don't know what do you want me to do. I did a whole Let's Play. I mean, Half-Life 2 made me be who I am today as a YouTuber and as a person. Download Half-Life 2. It's like $10. Came out 14 years ago. It's still a great game. There's not a lot to say about it.
I'm the trouble starter, punkin' instigator. I'm the fear addicted, danger illustrated.
We have Just Cause 3, which I'm pretty sure you guys already know if you've been watching my channel recently, that I've, just grown a love for Just Cause. Played over 100 hours in like 2 weeks. Nevertheless, it is a great game with a great map, and the map is absolutely massive. This is probably one of the biggest maps on this list. One of the biggest maps in video games, besides like some Final Fantasy game and like Minecraft, obviously, but it's not just a map full of nothingness. Every square meter of the map has something for you to do, and it's really interesting because of the wide range of vehicles that you can have. You can have anything from a scooter to a cargo plane. I mean, it's comparable to GTA 5 for the vehicle diversity. There's side missions and a skill tree, and it's not just a skill tree like in Watch Dogs 2 where you get points and then you have to unlock them like that. No, you don't just get points. You have to actually do stuff like, if you want to upgrade your glider, then you have to go on this glider course. It can be difficult at times, but I mean, you can't just farm a whole bunch of points and then unlock everything in the game. You actually have to put in actual work, and I'm on my second run of the game. I've already beat it once, and I'm on my second run, as you can tell from the gameplay in my Discord video. That was the boss fight with DiRavello. I don't know, it feels like an oppressed nation. It kind of reminds me of Half-Life 2, but in the sense that it's an island off the coast of Italy, and it really feels like that. Every character feels real, even though I've never been in Rico's position. Also, it was kind of surprising to find out this was the guy that voiced Rico Rodriguez, and he does a really good job. But the point is, it's not to be realistic, even though it does feel realistic. It's literally a Michael Bay movie in the form of a video game. He loves those type of actiony scenes, and he does them all, and I think I'd love to see Tom Cruise jump off a missile. I don't know, maybe that's just me, but I'd love to see that. I'm really hyped, and I really hope they don't screw this up, because Tomb Raider was good, but it wasn't good. It was good, but it wasn't good. It was good in the sense that it was Tomb Raider and one of my favorite games, which I'm going to talk about next. But it was alright. Alright, that's it. Tomb Raider was alright. Actually, I'm sorry guys, I lied. Tomb Raider was not next, and it is Life is Strange. I mean, just like I said in the Quantum Break portion of this video, I'm in love with time travel, and I probably wouldn't have liked the game as much as I do if it wasn't for the time travel aspect. And they've built this whole entire universe out of Life is Strange. I mean, granted, only 2 of the 3 games that they've released are good, but Life is Strange 2 coming, and everything's gonna be revealed in 2 days, so it might be 1 day, because depending on whenever I get this video out. But Life is Strange, the world, Arcadia Bay, it's very soft. It kind of gives me Firewatch vibes, but not exactly, because Firewatch, you're in the middle of nowhere, and Life is Strange, you're in a city, but not a city, a small town in Oregon, Arcadia Bay, Oregon. And like I said in the Quantum Break video, some things, they just all interconnect. Like some things you'll see at the start of the game, and then you realize, oh wow, this is happening at the end of the game. Now, to be fair, it wasn't really as complicated and in depth as it was in Quantum Break or Back to the Future, but it was still there nevertheless. It's a place that you want to visit. And if I ever go out to Oregon, I'm definitely gonna go in that area, because most games that have fictional locations are often based off of real locations, even if it isn't a real city. So yeah, really great town. I love all the paranormal stuff that's going on in there. Not really paranormal, just kind of strange. Pun. Life is Strange. Get it? All right. Next one. Coming at number 2, we have Tomb Raider, and I remember when I was little, my older sister used to play this, and I remember thinking, this seems cool. And then Steam Sale 2017 rolls around, and I'm like, maybe I should play this. So I'm like, okay, yeah, Gaben, here's my credit card info. Gaben, you can have it. All right, I just want Tomb Raider. All right, and I played it, and I gotta tell you, it was worthwhile. It was very dark, very gory. It's not like absorbent amounts of gore. Like, it's not just like all this for the ridiculousness. It's everything's perfect. Everything has a place. The characters didn't feel nearly as real as they did in Just Cause, but I was more focused on the gameplay. The gameplay mechanics were what kind of made the game what it was to me. The island that you're on is really great. Although I didn't like how it was represented in the Tomb Raider movie, but I don't know, I just felt it was a really small island in the Tomb Raider movie. It was a massive island. I mean, you went everywhere from the snowy mountains to the beach to, regular island stuff, but it was like a whole continent condensed down to one island, and that's what I really like about the game. Down to number 1, can you guess what it is? And I've teased it this entire video, Watch Dogs 2. Playing the game in its entirety was complete, the definition of immersion. In San Francisco, a place I'd never been, making me want to go to a place I'd never heard of. On Xbox I have like 97 hours, and on PC I have like 300 something hours, and everything in this game kind of improves upon what was the first game. And I didn't mind the tone. The tone was, it was very bright. Compared to the very dark and gory Watch Dogs 1, but I feel like in Watch Dogs 3 we're gonna get that perfect balance of the 2 games, and honestly I'm really excited. But we're here to talk about Watch Dogs 2, not 3. We don't even know if it's coming out. Well, we do know it's coming out, but we don't know if it's coming out. Like, it hasn't been officially confirmed by Ubisoft, but there's been leaks and whatnot. But anyways, the map, it's really big, although you can get from Silicon Valley to the city in like 2 minutes. So it's not skill 1-by-1 recreation like the first game. You can't get all of that, but what you can get into such a small map is the feel, the look and the feel, and the soundtrack just complements it. It doesn't really have a sound. It does have a soundtrack, but it's more of a hacking soundtrack. I'm talking about in the cutscenes. San Francisco by Scott McKenzie was perfectly picked. I feel like that just kind of adds to the sunshiny, happy, everyday feel of the Bay Area. I'm going to visit San Francisco one day. I'm going to visit San Francisco, and I'm gonna go to all the places. Lombard Street, I'm gonna go to Fisherman's Wharf, Coit Tower, gonna go visit San Bernardino Mountains, gonna go visit Marin. All of those places are I definitely want to go see. When a fictional game in a real city that's not scale 1-by-1, but it's still a real city in the US or around the world or whatever, when it makes you actually want to go to that city if you've never been, that's how you know that they actually did a good job on the world. Now, I'm not saying Watch Dogs 2 is a perfect game. It's far from perfect. It's just the reason I have 300 hours in Watch Dogs 2 is the world. Sometimes I wouldn't even complete missions. Like my first playthrough of it, I wouldn't even complete missions. I just ride around in the world. Although the NPCs are pretty stupid. I hate the NPCs. The NPCs kind of broke the immersion a little bit, but the world is the only thing that I really cared about. The story was good as well. It just didn't have the full potential. It wasn't as complete as the first game, but it was still a fairly good story in terms of just any game out there that I played. And yeah, this is definitely a game that I'm gonna be thinking about a lot, especially when the third one comes out. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe for more content like this. Remember, all these links to these games will be in the description. And yeah, see you guys later. Peace.